This episode of the Outside Health and Fitness Podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Get exclusive rewards and more by visiting OutsideHealthAndFitness.com/support. Outside Health and Fitness Podcast, episode 158, How to Keep Running This Winter.
The women are going to get a 10-minute head start with the men to follow. The whole point is to have the women try to outrun the men and have the men try to catch the women.
Welcome to the Outside Health and Fitness Podcast. We're getting outside the box, outside our comfort zone, and outside and in shape. If you're bored with the same old fitness routine at the gym and you're ready to try something new, then this is the show for you. We're exploring new and fun ways to get fit on the trail, on the water, on the slopes, and outside.
Hi, this is Steve Stearns from Outside Health and Fitness, and thank you for joining me for another episode. If you're new to the show, we like to stay fit and active by having fun outside. We like to ride, slide, run, walk, hike, bike, golf, frolf, swim, and ski. If it's fun outside and it keeps us healthy, we love it. So if you're like us and you like to have fun outside, then you found the right place. You know, running in the winter presents some different challenges, from low light to low temps and slippery surfaces. But just because it's colder out doesn't mean you have to hang up your shoes until spring. There are plenty of runners who put in some fun miles over the winter, and you can too. On today's show, you'll discover some tips on getting ready to run during the winter months, options for gear that help improve your traction and comfort, and some fun running events, demos, and clinics to help you stay inspired and moving this winter.
OutsideHealthandFitness.com.
Before we get into the episode, I wanted to let you know what's coming up this week on my new show, Funky Fitness Now. This week, we're talking about some cool and funky high-tech wearables, like a bra that tweets reminders to do breast self-exams and contact lenses that actually monitor your blood sugar levels. Here's a clip.
Welcome to Funky Fitness Now.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Jessica, and we host Funky Fitness Now. Wait, let's back up. Did you say hopefully after I said I will be turned into an alien? Join us each week at funkyfitnessnow.com.
On iTunes, Stitcher, and other top podcast networks.
Stay fit and funky.
My guest this week is Tara Whiton. Tara is a certified exercise physiologist, a running coach, and an outreach coordinator for Fleet Feet Maine Running. Oh yeah, she's also a runner. Tara helps runners at any level, from beginner to those running mountain and ultra races, using a science-based approach. I was lucky enough to get a chance to talk with her at Fleet Feet Maine Running in Brunswick about running outside during the winter. We sat down in the store and I asked Tara about some of the different types of equipment you need for running in winter conditions.
Yeah, so for winter running, there's obviously a lot of equipment that goes into it. A lot of people enjoy running because it tends to be cheaper than other sports like skiing, but there still is an initial startup cost. If you've been previously running, it's not too much of a shock, but sometimes to newcomers it can be a little bit shocking to realize like how much equipment you kind of need to be able to run outdoors in the winter. So definitely starting with a good shoe. In the winter, you can either wear your regular road shoes with a traction device like Yak Trax or ice bikes, or you can wear a trail shoe that has more of a sticky rubber that'll have a little bit more grip on the snow and the ice. Wearing an insulated tight when it's cold out is really ideal. There's certain tights that have insulation in addition to wind panels, and that can really help just keep out the bitter cold. Really anything below 20 degrees in Maine feels very cold, usually. And then there's several different layering techniques you can use for the upper body. So wearing just a base layer and then, a shirt over that or a fleece of some sort with some sort of windproof jacket, either a windbreaker or a heavier shell. And again, it's more about just keeping out that breeze so, you don't want to freeze when you're out there.
Yeah.
And then hats, gloves, a neck warmer.
Those Yak Tracks, I've never tried those. Is that something you have to kind of get used to? Is a little bit of a different feel running in something like that?
Yes. Maybe the first time, and it does help you or I shouldn't say help you, but it does kind of force you to change your stride just a little bit. You have to be a little bit more conscious about where you're placing each foot and just trying to make sure that your foot strike is underneath your body instead of in front of it. You know, if you have a really long stride, you're more at risk to being injured, but if your heel's out in front of you, you're more likely to slip on ice. So shortening your stride a little bit and making sure that your feet are directly under your hips is the best way to prevent that. But yeah, feeling funny the first time you wear Yak Tracks is pretty normal. It doesn't feel very good if you're running with them on pavement, but as soon as the ground is pretty covered with snow or even ice, it feels pretty normal because I think at that point you're kind of focused on other things, like just trying to stabilize yourself and you're not really thinking about it. But there is a very small adaptation period.
So dressing in layers, adding traction, and even shortening your stride can help you stay comfortable and on your feet. But what about breathing? You know, for me, when it gets really cold, I start feeling this pressure in my lungs. And I asked Tara if she had any advice on that or if this was my own private issue.
No, that's pretty common. You know, a lot of people, not obviously everyone, but a lot of people have exercise-induced asthma or even asthma that's triggered by extreme temperatures like the cold. I find it pretty hard to breathe when it's below 20 degrees. That's kind of my threshold. Everyone has a different threshold. So if that's a problem that you continue to have, it might be worth seeing your doctor. Some people need an inhaler for that. But again, you know, there are some layering techniques that you can use. We sell the balaclavas, which are those ninja-like masks that basically encompasses a neck gaiter, a headpiece, and a sort of wrap that goes around your mouth and nose. And those are nice because you can take off the headpiece and the mouthpiece. So if you start to get really hot, you can take that off. But it does help to have something around your mouth, even if you just wear a neck gaiter. Around your mouth and nose to just help warm up and moisturize the air that's going into your nasal passages and then your lungs.
That's great advice. I'm going to give that a try. Now, while I was at Fleet Feet in Brunswick, I was impressed by how many people I saw running. In fact, there was an entire group who had just finished a run, enjoying some coffee next door. I asked Tara about some of the things that Fleet Feet does to encourage people to stay active and run during the winter.
Yeah, so we in Portland have been doing this for a few years now. We are just kind of trying to make it more consistent in Brunswick, but basically the Winter Warriors program there's 5 opportunities a week. So in Brunswick, we meet on Monday and Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 8. And then in Portland, it's Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 9. So there's 5 different workout opportunities. And basically the whole idea is to just keep you motivated and keep you moving outside throughout the winter. It really isn't a time for structured training programs because, you know, when the weather's really bad and the conditions are not super safe, you know, pacing kind of goes out the window and it becomes more about effort and just time out there. So it's a really nice social opportunity. We have over 50 people registered in the Brunswick groups and then over 200 in Portland.
Wow, that's
so
awesome.
There's a lot of people taking to the roads and trails this winter, and people find it just a fun challenge to tough out the really crazy conditions that Maine winters can get.
Just challenging the elements, right?
Yeah.
So you guys do some trail running too.
Well, it's mostly road running in Brunswick.
Okay.
There's only a couple of trails in town.
Yeah.
Typically in the winter we won't hit them unless it's not icy. If it's just nice snow, then we'll definitely go on the trails. Portland has a few more trail opportunities with the Portland trail system there. But most groups are kind of on the road, and we kind of bounce back and forth with, you know, like the Back Cove Trail in Portland, or the popular trail in Brunswick is the Town Commons Trail.
Yeah, that's great. What about, do you have events coming up throughout the winter here at the store that people might be interested in?
So yeah, with the Winter Warriors group, we have every week we're either going to do some sort of clinic sponsored by me, just some sort of like, you know, quick 10-minute educational clinic, for example, dynamic warm-ups, some simple strength and conditioning moves that you can do to become a stronger runner. We'll have a podiatrist coming in. And in addition to clinics, we'll also do vendor demos when vendors are available. So we have Saucony coming in this month to demo the brand new Hurricane that's coming out. And we also have Kraft coming in, who is one of the best base layer manufacturers. So people will have a chance to demo Kraft base layers as well. Around Valentine's Day on the 13th, which is a Saturday, we're going to do the Catch Me If You Can fun run. It's totally free, and basically the women are going to get a 10-minute head start with the men to follow. The whole point is to have the women try to outrun the men and have the men try to catch the women.
It's just like real life.
Exactly. So, yeah, and then we will basically come back to the store and drink hot chocolate, eat marshmallows, and make some Valentines.
That's great.
And then talk shoes, of course. So,
yeah.
That's
very cool. That's awesome.
So she has some great educational events and fun runs planned this winter. I asked her if she felt winter running was a good time for a new runner to put in some miles and prepare for spring and summer runs.
Yeah, so Winter Warriors, as I kind of mentioned before, is it's a good time for just general base training. A lot of people are targeting a spring race or a summer race or even a fall race, and it's pretty essential to build a base level of aerobic fitness. Without that, your training and your performances can really suffer because your body isn't prepared to take on higher levels of training. So we do have some training groups coming up to target some of those races. So we have a Sugarloaf training group starting here in Brunswick, starting on February 22nd. And it's going to be a very structured program, basically to target the marathon and the 15K, and anyone who's looking to just finish, or people who are looking to qualify for Boston. Like any range is welcome, but it's going to be specifically targeted for those races. And then we'll have the Beach to Beacon training groups, the Maine Marathon training groups, like we always do.
Yeah.
So the winter is a great time to just not necessarily put your goals out the window, but to just focus on like running nice and slow and being really consistent, just to prepare your body for higher levels of training later on.
I had no idea there were so many training options, educational events, and fun runs happening to keep runners motivated over the winter. I asked Tara how we could find out more and follow Fleet Feet Maine Running online.
Yeah, so we are on several social media outlets. So we have, for both Portland and Brunswick, we have a Facebook group. The name's a little long, but we want to make them very clear. So we have Fleet Feet Sports Maine Running Portland, and that's obviously the Portland store, and then Fleet Feet Sports Maine Running Brunswick, and that's our Brunswick store. On Instagram, we are Fleet Feet Maine Running, and Twitter, we're also Fleet Feet Maine Running. And then in addition to those social media outlets, we send out a weekly newsletter for just the store, and then we also send out a weekly newsletter to the training group people.
I want to thank Tara for coming on the show and sharing information on how to keep running through the winter. I hope you got inspired to lace up your shoes and get outside for a run. As you know, Outside Health and Fitness is free and supported by our listeners. If you find value in the information that we share and would like to help out, I would deeply appreciate it. Even a few dollars a month goes a long way. In fact, I've set up some really cool rewards for fans of the show, like advanced episodes, behind-the-scenes videos, and bonus content. Levels start as low as $1 a month. So check them out at outsidehealthandfitness.com/support, and thank you so much for helping. I want to welcome a few new members who joined Outside Health and Fitness this week. Hello, Kevin N., Alexandra A., and Angela P. It's great to have you on board. If you want to join too, it's super easy. Just visit outsidehealthandfitness.com/158. You'll get links to everything we talked about on the show today and your free copy of Fit Fast First Thing, my Tabata morning workout for a quick 10-minute routine you can use to start your day off right. It's a perfect way to get pumped up for your next winter run. Visit outsidehealthandfitness.com/158. I'm Steve Stearns. Thank you again for listening. Well, that wraps up another episode of the Outside Health and Fitness Podcast. I hope you got something of value from the show today that helps you get outside and in shape. For more on taking your health and fitness outside, visit outsidehealthandfitness.com and subscribe to the show. Until next time, I'll see you outside.